Hello, friends. The 883rd day of the war between Russia and Ukraine continues. In the Kharkiv border area, in the settlement of Gliboki, after repelling numerous attacks, the enemy still managed to regain control of the farm territory. The area is recording the advance of the Russians to a depth of up to 400 meters. In Vovchansk, without significant changes, there are counter-battles in the area of multi-story buildings. By the way, today in Kharkiv, the longest air raid siren since the beginning of the war ended. It lasted more than 2 days. However, after the end of the longest alarm at 9 in the evening, a new alarm was announced 10 minutes later. In the Toretsk area in Zelensky, according to data from drone footage of the Ukrainian armed forces, the enemy's advance to a depth of up to 200 meters is recorded. On one of the multi-story buildings, the Russians hung out their flag, which our drone operators destroyed. It is reported that the enemy was unable to gain a foothold in this building, which is why the territory goes into the gray zone and not into the red one. Another advance of up to 550 meters along the forest belt is recorded in the direction of Pantalamonivka, southwest of New York. I would like to note that the Russians have repeatedly tried to attack Oleksandropol, but have failed to break through our defenses. Apparently, because of this, they have changed their attack vector in order to bypass Oleksandropol and are trying to advance towards Pantalamonivka. There are forest belts in the area of their advance, which allow them to use more forces, as well as gain more advantageous positions for consolidation. Yesterday, the Ukrainian military telegram channel Deep State reported that north of Progres in the Pokrovsk direction, the Russians are trying to encircle part of the Ukrainian armed forces group near Lazyvatsky. There is no order to retreat, Deep State wrote, citing fighters from the 31st Brigade who were practically surrounded. South of Lazyvatsky, the enemy has formed a bottleneck through which a number of positions have to be held. The brigade command wants the fighters to remain surrounded until the last soldier. There is virtually no company control, since their commanders are wounded or killed, the telegram channel reported. The operational and tactical situation became critical over the weekend due to the chaotic withdrawal of one of the infantry brigades. The 47th Brigade, which came to the rescue, was unable to hold back the enemy, who outnumbered them. There had already been a concentration of 2 companies in the village, Deep State wrote. Deep State reported today that the fighters of the 31st Brigade, although they had not received an order from the command to retreat, were able to break out at night. According to him, the brigade commander never gave the order to break through, so the fighters confronted him with the fact that they would break through themselves with a fight. With the help of coordinated actions of artillery, aerial reconnaissance, and related forces, as well as under the command of officers on the ground, the guys from the 1st and 3rd Battalions were able to break out of the encirclement in full force. The fighters are alive and continue to hold back the enemy, writes Deep State. The resources map now shows a ring in the gray zone in this area. The telegram channel also confirms significant Russian advancement in Novoslivka Persha and in a number of other areas in the Pokrovsk direction, near Ivanivka, Progres, and Vovchi. Particularly significant advancement in Vovchi. In one day, the entire settlement was virtually lost. In the meantime, Bild military observer Julian Rupp claims that the Russians have captured Novoslivka Persha and publishes a Russian video with a flag on the western outskirts of the village. He calls this village the last stronghold of Ukrainian troops near Cherechuni. The battle for the strategically important town lasted only 2 weeks. Ukrainian troops are expected to withdraw across the Volkhta River in the area. Russian troops are now 22 kilometers east of Pokrovsk, down from 38 kilometers earlier this year, Rupp writes. Deep State's map shows most of the village under Russian control, with the rest in a gray area. Commander-in-Chief Siersky gave an interview to The Guardian. Here are the main points. The general knows when the F-16s will arrive, but he will not say so. They will approach the front no closer than 40 kilometers, so as not to be shot down. Russia invaded with a 100,000-strong group. Now it has grown to 520,000, and by the end of 2024, it is planned to increase its number to 690,000 people. Russia has an advantage in equipment of 1-2 or 1-3. Since 2022, the number of Russian tanks has doubled from 1,700 to 3,500, armored personnel carriers from 4,500 to 8,900, artillery systems have tripled. Russia's offensive can be stopped. It depends on our brave soldiers, our officers. Russia's achievements are tactical. There is no operational breakthrough. In principle, the enemy has not made significant progress. The Russians tried to seize Kharkiv and the neighboring Sumy region, but this attempt failed. If Russia is preparing an offensive in the south of the Zaporizhia region, we will be able to give them a good answer. Kiev still has plans to retake Crimea. It is realistic, of course. This is a big military secret. We will do everything possible to achieve the internationally recognized borders of 1991. Mobilization is needed to replenish reserves and create new brigades. One of the reasons for the enemy's constant advance is the total advantage in manpower, writes Deep State. This photo shows an infantry column moving from Yevhenii to the west across the railroad. The Russians are moving in entire platoons of 40 to 60 people to the front line and occupying it. The insufficient number of guns and ammunition also plays a role. I would very much like to take Western partners there so that they can see the seriousness of the need to provide more resources to defeat the enemy. According to Commander-in-Chief Zelensky, the enemy will increase the number of its contingent to 690,000 people. This means that the Russians are not only managing to replace losses, but also continue to increase the total number of soldiers, Deep State reports. At the same time, the commander of the National Guard Pevnenko predicts that in a month or a month and a half, Russian troops will not be able to conduct active assaults in many directions and will go on the defensive. Now he described the situation on the front as difficult. But the enemy's offensive capabilities are not unlimited, and how many losses they suffer, I think another month or a month and a half, and they will not be able to conduct active assaults in many directions at once and will go on the defensive in any case. And during this time we need to form our units, prepare them, Pevnenko said. He believes that Ukraine needs to adapt, change the management model, try different approaches. Friends, this channel exists solely thanks to your support. If you have the opportunity and desire to support the channel, I will be very grateful to you. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.